Leon! Leon! I'm Roman. I'm Roman. I'm Roman.
Alright, the most famous episode 410. As one of my favorite YouTubers for Wolfenstein mods to watch, Big Mac Davis used to always call this the Diamond of Doom, because it is diamond shaped and it's filled with many officers for sure, which is the only enemy in this map. But of course, as you saw, what's hard about it is if you're trying to play for 100%, you really have no other choice but just to duck back into that secret area and let the officers come to you. Now, of course, I did, again, for screen time, try to use the rocket launcher, because not only one is it powerful, but two, again, the splash damage can help you take down multiple enemies at once. Like 2 or 3 may have gone down at once at times whenever I fired a rocket towards those officers. So it does come in very handy. The only disadvantage, though, of that is the fact that the reaction is a little bit slower, and with how those officers are faster to react, you could take some damage, as it is difficult to get no damage on this map for sure. Maybe with the chain gun, but like I said, I didn't want to completely, repeat it from the original one. There is, of course, a game map in there, but it's kind of pointless for this map, unless you're trying to navigate to get all the chalices after you take out all of the officers. But one thing I think I talked about back in the original Wolfenstein 3D was that I think what makes this a little bit easier, though, than past versions is there's earlier versions of this game that when there's a big group of enemies in one spot, it does cause the enemies to disappear. And of course, like for Ling Yang 203, no, I'm sorry, not him. For Big Mac Davis, that's what made it harder for him, is the fact that his enemies were disappearing. So you don't know if they're still there or not. Since the enemies are, since that glitch has been fixed now, it doesn't make it quite as difficult. But of course, you just gotta play smart. You can't just go running around this maze like Free Willy and think you can get 100% that way with the enemies, especially. That's just not how it's gonna work. No matter what difficulty you're playing on, it's just not gonna work if you're 100%. Now, if you try to speed run, because really all you have to do to exit is just make the left at the start, then make the right, go down the hall, and you will eventually get to the secret going down the hall straight ahead. That's not too bad. But, of course, if you're trying to get 100%, that it is insanely hard. And the only health in this map, of course, also is the one up in the exit at the end. And, of course, even just navigating it to get the chalices can be hard. But my theory is, if you if you basically just stay in that row and go around like the barriers measuring up to it, then it shouldn't be too bad, but it definitely can get confusing. But yes, one of the hardest maps in the game, like I said, with the disappearing enemies thing not being fixed now, it's not as hard as it was, but it's still definitely, I would say, in my top 5 or top 3 for most difficult maps in the entire game. Through the first 6 episodes, at least. But that is it for Floor 10. I talked lots about it. On now to Floor 4 in the next video, which is probably my least favorite map in Episode 4. Until then, guys, I am the Club of Demand, 1993, and I'll catch you all later. Peace out, everybody.